Farg'ona davlat universiteti talabalari va magistrantlari diqqatiga. Ilm yo'lini tanlagan aziz yoshlar, endilikda siz yillik o'quv rejasida belgilangan dars mashg'ulotlari va mavzularni nafaqat oliy ta'lim muassasasiga kelgan holda, balki maxsus platformaga joylanuvchi video darslar orqali ham o'zlashtirishingiz, bilimlaringizni mustahkamlashingiz mumkin. Bu borada biz sizga yaqindan ko'mak beramiz. Ya'ni oliygoh professor o'qituvchilar tomonidan olib borilgan dars jarayonlari tasvirga olingan holda taqdim etiladi. Biz sizning mukammal va sifatli ta'lim olishingiz tarafdorimiz. Siz istagan paytingiz va joyingizda ushbu darslarni tomosha qilishingiz va mavzularni mukammal tarzda o'zlashtirishingiz mumkin. Farg'ona davlat universiteti rahbariyati talabalar uchun qulay va mukammal ta'lim sharoitlarini yaratib berishga hamisha tayyor.
Good day, dear learners of English. I am Sevara FAZLIDDINOVA and I work in English department of Fergana State University. Today we will be talking about the lexical transformations, which is one efficient way of dealing with lexical problems in translation. Before talking about the source and the target language, I need to give the definitions, these two terms, as because we'll be using these terms during our lesson. Source language is a language which is being translated, and target language is a language of which is being translated into. Our source language is English and the target language in Uzbek. We'll be looking at some rules and classifications of the lexical transformations done by some famous scholars and the translators, and we will have analysis and examples as well. Okay, let's talk about the lexical transformations. What are they? Why do the translators need to use the lexical transformations in translation? Lexical transformations in translation occur between two different languages in order to preserve and transmit the meanings of the words when they are translated. Our source language, English, and the target language, Uzbek, as I have mentioned before, they are completely different languages, as because they belong to different language families. English language is one of the West Germanic languages belonging to Indo-European language families, and Uzbek language is one of the Turkic languages belonging to Altaic language families. And of course, this leads to difficulties associated with the preservation and the transmission of the meanings of the words when they are translated. Transformations have always been in the center of the attention of many scholars and the translators. Uzbek famous scholar Shuhrat Sirojidinov did significant research on Barkudarov and the Komissarov's theories of the transformation types. Based on their theories, he divides the transformations into three categories. They are lexical, grammatical, and lexicogrammatical. Okay, what are the lexical transformations? Okay, lexical transformations in turn are divided into three main types, according to Shuhrat Sirojidinov. Okay, the first one is transcription and the transliteration. The second one is calque, and the third one is wider type. This is called types of lexical semantic change, and in turn it divides into three types, namely concretization, generalization, and modulation. Okay, let's talk about the transcription and the transliteration. Okay, it is worth bearing in mind that transliteration and the transcription are similar. They actually mean two different activities. For example, transcription is primarily a reflection of the pronunciation of a language, and it is more user-friendly. And the transcription is simpler and involves writing down recording as a text and to reflect the way the sounds are pronounced. Transliteration, on the other hand, is based on a scientific method which is supported by a coding system in which each letter has their equivalents in any other languages. While transcription makes it easier to pronounce any foreign words, transliteration makes it possible to read the sentences written in a foreign alphabet in general. Okay, when does the transcription occur in translation? We can apply transcription method to translate context-free words. What are the context-free words? They are less sensitive to the contextual influence than others, and there are words with definite meanings and which are retained in most contexts, and they are relatively context-free. What are they? They are proper and geographical names, names of publications, I mean the magazines and the newspapers, names of various firms and organizations, names of ships and aircrafts, names of scientific terms as well, and the last one is names of the months and the days of the week. Okay, in this slide I would like to give some examples for transcription. Proper and geographical names are transcribed with the target language letters. Okay, here are some proper names. Examples: Smith in English and Smith in Uzbek. As I have mentioned before, we use two languages. Source language is English and the target language is Uzbek. Brown in English and Brown in Uzbek. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Also here is written H. English people don't pronounce H when they pronounce this name like John only. Okay, geographical names. Cleveland is transcribed with the target language letters Cleveland, Rhode Island and Rhode Island here. Rhode Island. Downing Street, Downing Street. Iowa, Iowa, okay, and the titles of periodicals like Life, Times are also transcribed with target language letters. They are not translated like Life is a common noun being Hayat, and the Times also is a common noun being Davrlar, but here this common noun shifted to the name, so that's why we don't translate these words, we just transcribe them. Life, Journale or Times Gazetası, like this. The names of firms: General Motors Corporation is transcribed like this, General Motors Corporation. Okay, since Uzbek alphabet is based on Latin letters, it is sometimes hard to differ the original and the transcribed words at a first glance. However, it is clearly seen if we use the Cyrillic alphabet. Okay, examples for transcription. We have more examples here. The names of the ships and aircrafts: Queen Elizabeth. Okay, Queen Elizabeth. This is kema name, and Spitfire, Spitfire hava keması name. Terms like technical, political, social, and medical. Now, look at these examples. Computer, we have the same computer. Electron, electron. Congressman, congressman. Impeachment, impeachment, and resolution, resoluция. Vaccine, vaccina. Epidemic, epidemia. Okay, names of the months, you see, January, Yanvar. Okay, the next type is transliteration, and when does the transliteration method is used? Transliteration is based on a scientific method supported by a coding system in which each letter has its equivalent in any other language. So here are given some examples, like Illinois. Illinois is pronounced in English. They don't pronounce the word S, but we transform this word based on the letters. We have transformed all the letters into our target language. Illinois, Illinois emas, not Illinois. Although the English people pronounce it like Illinois, we have transcribed this word like Illinois, and the other words have the same transformation. Michigan, this word is transcribed, pronounced like Michigan, but in Uzbek we have Michigan, and Michigan as English people pronounce. Kentucky, but we have Kentucky, not Kentucky. Okay, we have transformed by means of transliteration method. Okay, the next type is calque. This transformation technique is often used to translate compound terms or term phrases. Okay, calque, the term calque is borrowed from French language, meaning to copy and to trace. More specifically, we use the verb to calque when speaking about borrowing a word or phrase from another language while translating its components so as to create a new lexeme in the target language. For example, skyscraper, Osmanopar, skyscraper building, Osmanopar bina. And some transparent local geographical names can be translated by calques. Rocky Mountain, Qoyali tog'lar. So the compound words, Rocky Mountains, and Saint Helena Island, Avliyo Yelena Oroli. Golden Horn Bay, Oltin Shoh Ko'rfazi, and the next one is Forest, Uzoq Sharq. Okay, we need to tell that the half calque can be used to translate toponyms with classifiers such as river, lake, and bridge. For example, Waterloo Bridge, Waterloo Ko'prigi. Here we translated the word bridge, but we didn't translate this word, Waterloo Ko'prigi. And the next one is Salt Lake City, Salt Lake Shahri. Actually, these words have meanings in English and in Uzbek. They have equivalents in Uzbek, but when rendering the proper name, we don't translate them. We just translate the word city, bridge, lake, river, like this, as because they are being classifiers. Tower Bridge, Tower Ko'prigi, not Minora Ko'prigi. Okay, here we have given some exercises to do. The task is translate the following words using transcription, transliteration, and calque transformation types. Scotland Yard, Royal Yard, Intelligence Service, UK Intelligence Service, the USA, Dell Publishing Corporation, Random House of Canada Limited, and Grand Canyon, Yellowstone Park, Eugene Cassard, Labour Party, and the last one is United States Environmental Protection Agency. Now students, you do this exercise as because the exercise reinforces our knowledge taken before. Okay, now we talk about the next type of lexical transformations, namely lexical semantic change. According to Shuhrat Rochidinov and Gulnoza Odilova, in their books Badi Tarjima Asoslari, there are given three main types of lexical semantic change, namely concretization, generalization, and modulation. Okay, what is concretization? It is used when something in the target language is usually expressed using concepts with a narrow meaning. It is, for short, choice of using a more specific meaning rather than a general word. In most cases, when translating into Uzbek, English verbs of speech as well as verbs of movement such as say, be, have, go, come, take, give, are subject to specification as because their meaning are relatively vague and their valency is extremely broad. Okay, here are given examples for say and tell. Okay, we don't just translate say and tell with the words aytmoq and demoq. As I have mentioned before, they have a great valency in sense. It is common to concretize the verbs of speech say and tell, which can be translated as speak gapirmoq, say demoq, tell aytmoq, repeat qaytarmoq, notice ogohlantirmoq, assert qat'iy gapirmoq, and report xabar bermoq, ask so'ramoq, object e'tiroz bildirmoq, and order buyurmoq. In this sentence, we just use the say, tell in English, but if we look at the translations, we use different verbs here. For example, so what I said. In the first sentence, we translated just with the just dedim, nima qilibdi dedim. So what I said, this is objection, and nima bo'libdi deb e'tiroz bildirdim. Okay, hello, I said when someone answered the phone. Repeated action, and salom deb javob qaytardim, kimdir telefon go'shagini ko'targanda. Okay, he told me to come right over. Okay, u meni darhol yetib kelishimni buyurdi. But we use the tell, told, said, but in Uzbek words, Uzbek sentence, we use different verbs, okay, to give the sense of the sentence. He told me to come right now if necessary, means agar juda muhim bo'lsa, darhol kelishimni qattiq tayinladi. Okay, here are given some examples for go and come. Okay, at the by-election, victory went to the Labour candidate. It means the Labour Party candidate won the by-election. So here I have translated the sentence like qo'shimcha ravishda o'tkazilgan saylovlarda Labouristlar nomzodi g'alaba qozondi. Here went, okay, if we translate the word go in Uzbek, it is translated like bormoq, ketmoq, but here we cannot translate like this as because it doesn't give the meaning of the sentence. G'alaba qozondi, ketdi emas. And in the next sentence, the rain came in torrents. So means heavy rain poured down. So here I have translated the sentence like kuchli jala quydi, not kuchli jala keldi. Okay, so we cannot use this word in this sentence. Okay, next examples are for to be. He is in Hollywood means u Gollywoodda ishlaydi, maybe as an actor, as an actress, or filmmaker, or screenplayer. And she is at school, u maktabga boradi, yoki u maktab o'quvchisi. Next one, the election was on Sunday, means the election took place on Sunday. So saylov yakshanba kuni o'tkazildi. And Jack is in the army right now. Jack is in the army right now means he serves in the army right now. So in Uzbek we translate Jack hozir armiyada xizmat qilyapti. In English we can see only is, the types of the form of to be is, was, the past form, but in Uzbek we use different words for each. For example, in the first sentence we used ishlaydi for to be. In the second sentence we used boradi yoki o'quvchisi. In the third o'tkazildi, bo'ldi, and in the last one xizmat qilyapti. So we in these sentences we need to specify. So that's for reasons specification or concretization is needed in translation. We need to talk about you, concretization of you. According to Ibrahim Ghafour, the pronoun you can be the subject of the concretization. So this pronoun is English can be translated as sen va siz into Uzbek. In English grammar, there is one word you. Use it for both plural, for the second person in singular and for the second person in plural. But in Uzbek grammar, we use different words like for singular sen, for plural sizlar, and we have got more respected form of the verb says, but it is different in English. So it depends on the person mentioned in the context. If the person is close to me, or it is younger for me, I can use sen in translation. If the person is elderly person, it is authoritative person, you can use only siz in translation. Okay, generalization. It is the next type of lexical semantic change of lexical transformation. This is a reverse of concretization. The essence of this technique is the replacement of a specific concept by a generic one, a particular concept by a general one. Here are given some examples for generalization. There is a tendency in the English language for differentiation for some words, where the Uzbek language uses more general words. For example, qol. It is general word in Uzbek, and there is a specific forms in English like hand and arm, oyoq, leg and foot, barmoqlar, fingers and toes. Okay, he was wounded in the arm. He was wounded in the hand. U qo'lidan yaralangan. Both of them are translated with one word, qo'lidan, arm and hand. In English it is specified, but in Uzbek we generalized it. U qo'lidan yaralangan edi. What is the difference between the hand and the arm itself? A hand is a part below the wrist with 4 fingers and the thumb. An arm is a part that extends from wrist to the shoulder. Okay, she was wearing a gold watch on her wrist. U qo'lida tilla soat taqib olgan edi. Wrist black, qo'l is used instead of black, but it sometimes depends on the translator. Sometimes we can use just black, uning bilagidagi tilla soati or uning qo'lidagi tilla soati means the same meaning, the same sense. Okay, next one is he bought a pack of oolong tea on his way to home. U uyiga qaytayotib bir quti Xitoy choyi sotib oldi. Oolong tea is a sort of Chinese tea for the but for the receptor this information is not so important. Therefore, the translator can generalize it. So giving Xitoy choyi. So the translator generalized it with using Xitoy choyi to be understandable for the listener. Okay, we have got more examples for generalization, and in some cases to avoid the repetition, it may be desirable, it may be used for purely stylistic reasons. Since the shooting of Robert Kennedy 5 days ago, about 90 Americans have been shot dead. So shooting, shot dead, otib o'ldirilgan, otishmada halok bo'lgan. As I have mentioned before, we should avoid the repetition. In this case, for the first part, I used the generalization. Robert Kennedy'ga qotillik uyushtirilgandan 5 kun o'tar o'tmas 90 ga yaqin amerikaliklar otishma natijasida halok bo'ldilar. Shooting in the first sentence, qotillik uyushtirilgan, generalization, and the shot dead, otishmada halok bo'ldilar. Okay, we have more exercises to do. Translate and analyze and say whether they are concretization or generalization in translation. For example, she has cut her finger. Okay, she has cut her finger in Uzbek. So u qo'lini kesib oldi, to'g'rimi? U barmog'ini kesib oldi, to'g'rimi? In most cases we use u qo'lini kesib oldi. He ordered a drink. While playing in football, he has broken his leg. Futbol o'ynayotib u oyog'ini sindirib oldi. And she held a baby in her arms. She was holding a book in his hand. Okay, English people specify these two words, hand and arms. Okay, he is in Hollywood, my sister is in Cambridge now. And then this girl gets killed because she's always speeding. You could hear him putting away his toilet articles. Many Europeans speak Mandarin. Okay, your task is to do these examples, exercises using the concretization and generalization transformations. Okay, the next type is modulation. The transformation which consists in replacing the word or phrase with a unit, the value of which is logically derived from the value of the original unit. It is called modulation or semantic development. Here are given some examples of this. Here, illustrating the use of modulations based on various metonymic relationship. Relationship modulation, part and whole. At 5:30, all hands gathered in the manager's office to discuss current issues. Phrase all hands used instead of all employees. Okay, we have translated like soat 5:30da hamma xodimlar muhim masalalarni muhokama qilish uchun boshliqning xonasiga yig'ildilar. Relationship modulation, organization or institution, a set of employees. Tonight I'm having a teleconference with Kiola. I have a teleconference with Cleveland tonight. Means bu oqshom Cleveland tashkilot xodimlari bilan telekonferensiya o'tkazmoqchiman. I took Kertzner from the shelf in English. In Uzbek, I took javondan Kertznerni oldim. Ya'ni Kertzner ning loyihani boshqarish nomli kitobini oldim. The translator is obliged to take into account the fact that Harold Kertzner is the author of the book Project Management, which is being studied by managers of leading foreign companies. As Navoiyni oldim qo'limga kabi. I hope my lesson was understandable to all of you, and I hope you do exercises given in these slides. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.